Hi, I'm David Desero, and today I'm with Pablo Suarez,
Hey
who
everyone.
also has an awesome booktube and writing channel. Go check it out if you haven't. But today we finished reading The Blade itself, and we are going to rank our favorite POV perspectives. We'll rate the most interesting to least interesting perspectives in The Blade itself. So if you've already read it, then you can watch this. If you haven't read it, you can watch it, but you may not totally get what we're talking about. I highly
And there will
recommend
probably
you.
be mild spoilers, well, mild to severe spoilers throughout.
Yes, definitely spoilers. So if you haven't read The Blade itself, go check that out. That was it. That was your warning. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. The Dogman. This is Giselle, Pharaoh, Logan Nine Fingers, Column West, and Glotka. Okay. So we're going to start off with Dogman. So it's
Mhm.
1 through 6. You can
Oh,
ignore
this
these
is gonna
last
be
three.
tough.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Where
Okay.
gut feeling, I kind of want to throw them in the middle. What are you thinking? How do we
The
feel?
thing is, I think we should do like first. We do like a first pass, and then we reshuffle, we rearrange it. Because
Okay.
if we can't like, because in my head there's a
Hmm.
couple of them that are tied.
Hmm.
I'm gonna do my best to like find details to separate them. Third for Dogman.
Okay. So
Yeah, it would be like third of, yeah,
why don't we do this? We'll put all of them in the top three and kind of put two and then do a second pass where we separate
yeah,
and push
yeah.
push the others down.
That's a good chat. Yeah,
Okay.
cool. Yeah, I think that's a good position then for
Mhm.
Dogman. Yeah,
Okay. So where do we we'll put him in the bottom
yeah.
third. Dogman, he was
Hmm.
cool. He was one of the two characters that really had only a couple chapters, and he had really good chapters. I mean, there
Hmm.
was action. He was running around with basically the other named men that Logan used to run with. Were all
Yeah,
violent and great. Dogman, he was cool, collected, although he almost pissed himself before every battle. But man, he was a fun perspective. But
yeah.
there's not a bad perspective here. Okay, so we can move on to this is Giselle, where this is a hard one. Where
Oh,
do you want to throw him? Near the bottom
I'd
couple?
say
Second?
second at least.
Second? Okay.
Mm,
He
to
had
start
some
with.
good ups and downs. Like there's a moment he's so arrogant and obnoxious, but at the same time, you end up rooting for him. And he has
Yeah.
such a cool love story with Artie. And
Mm,
he has probably the most growth, I think, out of any character here.
yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
fair.
I agree.
Okay. We got Pharaoh. So this is another character where it's like she has only
Oh,
like 2 chapters.
yeah. I think Pharaoh is good. Pharaoh, you
Hmm.
like. There's not much to the character.
Hmm.
It's been done well, but it is a
Hmm.
character just that is driven on revenge and is bloodlust. Um,
Yeah.
but just for revenge, I would put it in third. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we
Um,
keep the two characters that only had like 2 chapters. We'll let them
yeah.
compete with each other. And
Yeah.
then yeah, she has like that one string of just like there's humanity in there maybe somewhere, but at this point she's just in kill everything mode and
Yeah.
she's, suspicious of everything. She had some
Hmm.
cool little chapters. Okay, now we get Logan Nine Fingers. I think it should pretty obviously compete with one of the top spots.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's fair
You have to.
because
It's the first character that you
mm,
really meet in the book.
yeah.
Um, there's not a lot of growth, but you can see a lot of his intricacies coming out when he goes into the city and how you get this warrior coming into an urban city or urban
Mhm.
scenario, and he's completely out of sorts. And the simplistic, optimistic way with like, I'm still alive. Like it doesn't matter how shitty the situation is, he'll say, I'm still alive.
Yes,
Things like that.
man, and his positivity, the
Mm.
man, just talking about like all these bad, horrible things can happen. He was like, I still have my pot, and
Oh, the pot.
things
The
like
tr-
the man is an optimist,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and he goes through less of a character arc, but his story, it's more of him being slowly unveiled throughout the
Mhm.
story. Like we're just
Yeah.
getting to know him. And now that we know him, I think in the second and third book we'll see more of an arc. But
Hmm.
but his story, the Bloody Nine chapter alone, I think makes him pushes him to top one or two. no matter
Yeah,
what.
that was such a good chapter, and that build up, it was so good. We talked about it in my video, but it's so
Mhm.
well done, that escalated tension and violence, and maybe like it's like chipping away his energy, and he's getting tired, and then suddenly boom, this explosion of aggression is
Yeah.
so enjoyable. I don't know how
Mhm.
it's so good.
It just
Yeah,
snaps, and it's like,
yeah,
yes, okay. Seen from his perspective, you feel like he's never out of a fight.
yeah.
Just okay. And
And
then we
also
have,
you see like his reticence to go into this bloody nine state, because
yeah,
it's like, if I don't do it now, I'll die. And he waits until the very last moment. Like he really
mhm,
doesn't want to go into that place, because when
no,
he's in that place, oh, he's invincible. He feels invincible, and he's like,
mhm.
don't even.
He goes to that dark place, and he knows he's so reluctant because he was gonna stab Pharaoh. Remember,
Yeah,
he loses control, and then he's
yeah. It's
just
like,
on kill everything mode,
I'll
and he
do this, and
knows
if
it's
you're in
bad.
front of me, oh,
Yeah, and just everything in front of me, dead, dead,
yeah,
dead, dead. I'm in a room full of dead people who are
yeah,
about to be dead right now. Like they're standing,
yeah,
but they're dead.
yeah, yeah.
And I get that. It's nice.
Mhm.
Um, okay, so our next character, we have this is a
West.
column what? Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Oof. Okay, early
the
on,
West.
I was very confident he would have been one of my favorite characters,
Mm,
and then that last after he starts messing up Artie and beating his sister and things like that, it's like, oh, you know what he's been through, and so it's like in that chapter you see his patience slowly getting broken down,
yeah.
and it's like he was such a good guy, and then he snaps and he does something horrible. And it's like, mm. But
there
he
is
does.
something there is something visceral, there's something primal in me that I just like. I like the guy, and
Mhm,
I liked the guy, and I understand what his, like, the circumstances that make him do that, but
mhm,
there's like a gut reaction here, a gut rejection, and it's like, no, that is just a no. So he's bumped down. I would
mhm.
even put him in third, I think.
You know, put him.
um like
Mm.
with Dogman and Pharaoh. Oh, but it's so hard. Okay, maybe second. Maybe let him compete with Jezal. Yeah, fine, fine.
Let him compete, and we'll go
Yeah,
down from there.
yeah.
Okay, and then Glotka, I think that's the other fan. Logan and Glotka, I feel like this is the argument for the top
Hmm.
spot every time
Yeah, yeah,
because they're just Glotka. He doesn't care if he dies. He looks at stairs like, is this the end? That would be so nice to just
yeah,
rest and just like the
yeah,
man doesn't care, but he
yeah.
also is good at his job and he
Very good.
tortures people.
Yeah,
But he he has a nice little arc where he goes from having no
yeah.
friends, which in the second half of the book I thought it was a little weird because in the first half the practicals that were with him, he's like, these are my boys, look what they've done.
Mm,
I thought those were friends, and but in the second half they kind of disappear, and then he goes on and on about how he really doesn't have friends, and then West reveals that he did come for him that one time and they
hmm.
finally
Yeah,
become friends. It's like, but Glotka's story, I mean, he has so many different adversaries, even just a rivalry with Goyle or trying to take down Baez. He like just throughout the story, he's constantly against something or someone. And I feel
yeah.
like Logan's the same way. Let's comb through a second pass here.
Second pass.
Yep.
Right,
Okay.
right,
Now,
right. I think this is easier now, seeing it this way.
mhm, I agree. So we have our first, we'll go bottom to top.
Yeah,
Our
good
first
idea.
one, we got Dogman versus Pharaoh. Who has the more interesting story?
I think in terms of story, there's like, for the plot, I think Pharaoh's story is going to be more of
Important.
weight than Dogman's. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
for
true.
me, yeah, go on.
I was going to say that's true actually because she's one of the Fellowship of of the Ring. She's
The
part of the
Fellowship of Bias.
yeah, the Fellowship of the Ball the Wizard, and she's one of those chosen people. So she's going to have an important part. So I think that just might slightly edge her above Dogman. Dogman's such a cool cat. Like he seems like out of people to hang out with, he would be the one least likely to stab you in the back. He seems like an actual good guy. He might be the only actual good person in this out of as far as perspectives.
Universe, yeah.
But as far as importance to the story and things like
Yeah,
that,
but then again, I like him. Like in my tier, I think he goes above Pharaoh. I don't.
It's so tough because he did have. They have a fight. Well, okay, she fights the Eaters in her perspective. She has that fight, and Yulwei actually comes and saves her and helps her. But in Dogman's, they have a couple fights, I believe, and they have, of course, that last one where they face off with all those guys who killed the weakest. And I think, and they both had an emotional scene.
Yeah, no, if you, it depends on how, like, what's the criteria that you're using. Like, if it's physical, obviously Pharaoh is going to be bumped up. If it's like ability to fight, but if we're talking about like quality of POV and like
let's
amount,
talk about let's talk about quality of POV. How interesting it is to see through their eyes and their chapters.
Then I'm going to go with Dogman first. I think Dogman has the dynamics in the group. In terms of story, Pharaoh, is going to be more important than him. But I think that in terms of like being immersed in the story, I was more trapped in the pages of Dogman. Pharaoh was. I think Pharaoh is a difficult character to empathize with. Not everyone has lost their families to you know.
As far as people,
an emperor,
fun to hang out with. She's on the like these are two opposite ends of the spectrum because she's still wants to kill everybody she meets, and Dogman is like he's pretty chill. It seems like. But and it's like it's so hard. Each one of these is so hard because there's no bad perspectives, and it's like, man, because he has the emotional scene where he avenges the weakest, and she has the emotional scene where she can't save that young girl from slavery, and it's like they're so, it's close, but I'll edge it out close, to Dogman just by a hair.
I think that's it.
So our next matchup here, fighting over third and fourth place, is Column West and Giselle. Man,
right, for me it's clear.
Just because of the Artie scene, I think.
Because of that,
I have to put him there because before the Artie scene, it would have been a lot tougher. I think Giselle, I still might have picked just because he's the only person with an actual arc. He goes through the most change, and you like it's an enjoyable change. He doesn't become worse. He becomes a little better, a little more reasonable. He falls in love with somebody not part of the same, social ranking, but he's starting to open his eyes to that and be just a little better. But man, Column West seemed like such a good guy, and you root for him and you understand he's in such a tough position, but then he snaps, he loses it, he beats his sister, and it's like,
and man, that is a never event. That is no.
And it's like, so in this ranking, he's here, but he's also kind of here.
I think he's there. He's only there because it's redeemable with the first 250 pages. You understand why he's done this. It's terrible, but you understand it.
And it's not like we're ranking how good of a human. This is not how good of a human.
It's a good of a POV.
Because if it was good of a human, he'd be a little further down. But Giselle, with the contest and everything, the whole training arc, he sucks at it. He's drinking all the time, doesn't take it seriously, and then he has the inspirational speech from Glotka and talks to Artie and goes through, and then he really takes it seriously. He ramps up his training. He stops drinking, wins the contest, even though Baez helped him, and then he shows his arrogant side again, just to all come together and realize he's totally in love with Artie.
Daphne is the moment. That is the moment that, in my eyes, Giselle goes up in my ranking, because you have this crass, egotistical, selfish prat that is just like at times funny with the Joe and the I'm so fucking beautiful. Look at me, I'm a fucking sculpture, and then that's funny. But then sometimes it's like, oh, you just stop it with the stupid classism and.
Mhm.
But that moment where he's like devastated, like in shock by this realization that shit, I'm in love, and I'm in love with a commoner. That is like, that makes him so much better.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
there's so many different dynamics with him. He has so much going on, so many interactions with other
Mm-hmm.
characters, and it's a fun perspective to see the
Yeah.
story through for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's good third place for him, definitely. Yeah.
The top two, the
Ooh.
best, the most enjoyable, the chapters that we were glad once we got to them, we were like, oh, it's another one of these chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Who gets it? We have
I'm gonna let you
Gladka.
go first here. This one.
Okay.
It's
I'm thinking
interested to see.
I'm going Logan just because of the Bloody Nine. That Bloodlust chapter was my favorite chapter in the whole book. That
Mm-hmm.
just his beast mode that he just turns on, messes everything up. Gladka, dude, I love Gladka's perspective, but he's funny, and I think Logan's funny. They're both funny characters in very deadpan, kind of sarcastic ways. But Gladka, he does a lot. He does his job and things like that. But just as far as chapters where he actually takes control of the situation and other people, that's not really his thing unless he's torturing
Mm-hmm.
them and he's already captured them. Whereas Logan, he can step into a scene and just decide, I'm gonna do whatever I want. Like, nobody really tells me what to do. He's following Baez because, well, there's nothing else for him to do. Whereas Gladka has to listen to the Archlector, and he's kind of limited in what he does, I guess. And
Yeah.
there's only so much from his POV that you can do, whereas Logan, who knows what can happen? He could do,
Yeah.
I don't know, anything.
No, I agree with you. Because since we're ranking quality of POV, that Bloody Nine scene, that was the best sequence in the book, in my opinion. So I do agree. In terms of favorite characters, I think this ranking would be different. But yeah, in terms of quality of POV, I agree with you. Yeah.
Because you get to see, I think,
This
most
is
of the
good
world
conclusion.
too. Because you see, it starts off in the north against the Shenka, and then he goes down through the mountains by himself. He runs into Malachus. He's on the road. Sees Baez in the forest. Then they go to the city.
Loses his pot.
Loses his pot. The biggest tragedy of this entire
That is the real
book.
tragedy of this book. Yeah.
You know what? I hope part 2 is just about them retrieving the pot.
Give
because
Logan his pot back. Hashtag give him his pot.
Hashtag return the pot. It's just, we need it. He needs it. He was so sad.
Oh God. The Fellowship of the Pot. That's the plot for the next book. They just go and look for the pot.
Somebody needs to write that fan fiction, the Fellowship of the Pot, and then they get everybody together. We need to find the pot, and I want everybody else to take it just as serious as he does. And Glotka's like, yeah, I mean, if you think about it reasonably, he needs that pot to cook, so we should find it. Just go on and get after it.
Oh God.
But yeah, so I think this is where we're at. I think Logan had the most interesting perspective, POV, in the story. Kalatka was a very close second, and he had, a bunch of adversaries throughout, and he had a super interesting story, but I think just Logan had just a little more. And then coming up third, we have Giselle, followed by West, followed by Dogman, and Pharaoh. I think these two characters, who knows where they could have, if they had more screen or page time.
Yeah.
Right?
Screen time.
Like, I was going to say screen time. The screen in my head.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah. But yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
So if you're watching, let me know what your ranking is, because I'm interested to see what other people think. Is there anybody who would put somebody number one who's not Logan or Glotka? I wonder if there's any fans out there who's like,
that'll be interesting to see. Yeah.
Giselle's my guy, or Dogman, or Pharaoh, or if somebody's like West. I don't know.
Just real quick, what would be your ranking of favorite characters? Just rearrange it in your what is your character number one, character number two?
Okay. Favorite, absolutely. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Favorite, man. Yeah, Glotko is the most interesting. It's just as far as a unique perspective in person. I really like Dogman.
I agree with you there.
He's such a cool dude. And then Logan, he's so quiet. Just as far as a person, I think Pharaoh would still come in last, sadly, because just as well, let's see, interesting people. She's interesting. And I think once she gets past the I want to kill everybody, there's a person in there
Yeah,
who's probably
that
like,
killing everybody stage.
yeah,
You know, everyone goes
yeah,
every now and
it'll
again.
pass. You know
I
how
want to
it
kill
is.
every single person.
Then they go through their other phases. And then
Yeah,
but because I know Yulwei, even he and Baez, I think they both asked her. They were like, okay, so even if all your enemies were dead, what would you do then? And she was like, what? What do you mean? Like, it's like there's got to be something else. But
yeah,
I gotta throw West just as far as people. Giselle isn't. Giselle's arrogant as hell. You probably know that.
yeah.
Logan's pretty cool, but Glotko would be the
Ah,
most
cool.
interesting. And
Yeah,
then I'd go Dogman. He just seems fun. He just seems like a fun dude. I don't know.
yeah,
All right, what about you?
yeah.
Where would you
I
let me
think
rack these guys?
for me, it would be Glokta. Glokta is number one for me.
Okay.
He's the most fascinating character. Um, every time he's in the scene, I just want to know how he's going to analyze everyone or everything.
Mhm.
So yeah, definite number one for me in terms of favorite characters. For second, I would probably go with Giselle.
Okay.
I really like again, arrogant as hell. Like he's a real prick, but
Mhm.
I'm like he's gonna end up changing a lot because of his romance with Ardy, and now he has
Mm.
to go to the end of the world. I hope the bias is going to straighten him out. You know, like stop being an absolute twat.
Stop whining. Just
Yeah,
stop being so arrogant. Stop complaining and just fucking. We have a thing to do.
yeah,
A thing. Ta-da. We have a we have a thing to do. Just let's
yeah,
do it and let's go. And maybe he'll grow up a bit. That I
yeah.
agree with that. Okay.
So yeah, so after Giselle, Logan is I don't know why I said Logan. Logan is my
Again.
yeah.
Okay.
Then it would be Dogman, then
Okay.
Pharaoh, and then you can even put it in ninth. Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
You can't hit your sister. You just can't.
it's a no,
No matter how
no,
much your sibling pisses you off, you can't hit them.
mm,
It's just
mm.
can't do it.
Or any other
Okay.
human being for that
That
matter. Like,
that's fair.
but
That's a fair
especially
thing
not
to
your
say.
sister.
Okay.
Yeah,
One more real quick. Okay. How
yeah.
about uh you go on this mission with Baez. Who do you want to have your back from first to
Oh, okay.
last? Okay. I'll go first.
Yeah,
And I'm put I got the bloody nine. I just have to go with the bloody nine. I feel like that beast mode. Although you will
yeah.
be at a little bit of risk if he's watching your back, like you have to run away when he's the bloody nine
Hmm.
because he'll kill you.
Yeah,
So there's a little
yeah,
danger, but and then I go Pharaoh.
yeah,
This one she actually does. This is the quality she's shown to be the best at. It like
yeah.
in her stories, she kills stuff. She's good at fighting. She's good at surviving and killing. I would have to put her up there. Like if you want her to watch your
Definitely,
back, she
definitely.
even though she has a little bit of a lack of people skills, like she still banded together with other people and still worked with them to try to survive. Just the other
Yeah,
ones happened to get killed off. They weren't as good as at fighting or surviving as she was, but she is able to team up with people.
yeah,
And so I'd have to put her number two. I
yeah.
think number three, I want to go in a fight. I think I'm thinking Dogman or West, because West has actually been in military conflicts. He's a
Yeah.
former champion. Oh, man, this one's tough. But Dogman is a named man, which is a big deal in the North.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. I'm going to go with Dogman just to have you. He seems
Fair,
loyal. He
fair.
seems like he wouldn't leave
Yeah,
you behind.
he'll
And then,
he'll definitely have you back. Yeah,
yeah, then I got to go with the West. And this is strictly in the having your back in a fight kind of situation. Military guy, but he's also won a contest before. Then I'm going with Giselle
mm-hmm.
because he's a quick swordsman. He's not the
Yeah.
best, but he's quick, and he might leave you though. He might just be like, nah.
Oh, yeah. When things get
So,
difficult, he might just say,
he
"Oh,
might. I
bye."
don't need this.
Yeah,
Bye, peasant, and then just run.
yeah,
Like, and then Glocka, poor Glocka. He's so interesting and so smart, but in like a physical like fight somewhere out in the forest, and you need somebody to have your back. there's not a whole lot he can do, you
It'll
know,
be good to
since
have
being
him in the
tortured.
back, sort of like trying to convince people to stop fighting, or like trying to,
Mhm.
with his words help
Yeah.
you, but just as an asset in the back. Don't get
Mhm.
into the actual fighting.
Yeah. And it's just, he's witty and he's so smart, but yeah, just in
Yeah,
a straight up physical fight, he's definitely last in this list.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah,
All right.
I
So
think my ranking is actually the same as yours.
the
Actually,
same.
I wouldn't change anything
Okay.
because Pharaoh is really good at fighting. Um, maybe, yeah. I was gonna say maybe change Giselle and West, but actually, Giselle is good at not play fighting, but fencing. It's not real. Like it's a competition, and you've got
Hmm.
stamina and things. But in a real fight, you don't really have to respect like the circle and like.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good ranking there. Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree
Yeah.
with
Because
your
West
choices.
West has actually killed people and he's actually
Yeah,
been in that life or death
actually a
situation.
soldier. Yeah.
Yeah. And so is Dogman. Dogman
Hmm.
lives in that in that state.
Yeah. And Pharaoh is
So
like, "Urgh." And then we've
she's
got the Bloody Nine.
she
It's like,
thrives, and then yeah, the Bloody Nine is just a totally different monster. And it's
yeah,
like, oof, okay, that'll be
yeah,
interesting.
hmm
Good. I think it's a good list. And then yeah,
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how as you go through the series, you know, from the next book, what other perspectives might pop up, you know, in the
hmm
next two and see how that would interchange. But
yeah.
yeah,
It'd
I
be
like
good
where
to
we're at.
see like with more POVs. If we do this in the
Mm-hmm.
future, we see the changes on what we thought in the past and
Mm-hmm.
the new characters in the future.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So
Yeah.
again, let us know. Talk to us down in the comments if you see this and you want to throw out your rankings, or let us know why we're right or wrong or whatever. Let's talk about it. It's a good book to talk about. But definitely go check out. We have the spoiler talk part 2 for the Blade itself over on Pablo's channel. So I'll link that in the description down below. Check that out. And then until next time, we'll see you later.